What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. So today we're going to be showing you guys how to farm all of those PAL drops, those items that you get when you defeat PALs super easily for all the different types that we have with water, fire, ice, electric, grass, ground, dark, dragon, as well as normal PALs. So we got a couple different options to go through, with the first being the different PALs that we actually can catch or breed to, which allow those certain types of PALs to drop more items when defeated. So first off, for those fire PALs, these will drop those flame organs, sometimes other things if they're a fire and ground or like a fire and electric, something like that, it'll drop just more items. That would be the Elfridian Aqua as well as the Pen King. So this Elfridian Aqua right here, you can see in the partner skill, while fighting together, fire PALs drop more items when defeated. To get this inside of that earlier game, you do have to catch a Serpent as well as an Ephrodin, the normal version, because these aren't out in the wild, they have to be bred, so it's the combination of that Serpent with Elfrodin. Now, an even easier one for that early game is the Pen King. There is an Alpha PAL that you can catch pretty early to get the Pel King. To get the Pen King, I should say, at level 15 is what he is at. And again, you can see as its partner skill, fire PALs drop more items when defeated. Now, to breed this, there are a couple different options as well, but I do think it's easier to just go out and catch it. But like I said, there are a couple different ways to breed this as well. Next on our list is for ice PALs. This time we only have one. It's weird that only fire as well as normal PALs have two different ones that can get the drops. The rest of them only have one. Like right here with Flaris is the only one for those ice PALs. While fighting together, ice PALs drop more items when defeated. So this is a very good one when you're going out there to those ice realms. To be able to get this, you need a Vanworm as well as an Anubis to breed this out and grab it, because I don't know if it's actually out and about unless it is in one of the wildlife areas where you will have to go and catch it, but that is for that later end game. So early on, use this for those ice PALs and those ice drops. Third on the list is our electric PAL drops with the Menacing. Now this is a later alpha PAL that you can go and catch, but again, you can breed it, but some of the PALs that you have to craft it with are also endgame, so this one is a little bit later on. Luckily, we don't need too many of the electric PALs. Early game, you can kind of just go out by yourself, getting some of those little electric tykes around, the Mossand Deluxes, stuff like that, Grisbolt, to get just enough for your couple electric towers. But once you get one of these Menacings, you can go out and absolutely farm those electric balls. Next off, when we move on to our grass PAL types, so when you're looking for those flowers, seeds, stuff like that, throw on a Blaze Howl right here, because you can see those grass PALs drop more items when defeated. This is also a very easy one to get inside of that early game with the crafting or breeding. I don't know why I keep saying crafting, but you can craft a Ruby with a Rexosaurus, a Relaxosaurus together, and you can get a Blaze Howl. Also has Kindling 3, which is pretty cool to have on the base, but have this on for when you're getting those grass PAL defeats. Keeping us moving here with our ground PAL drops, you can use the Veilet right here, which can be crafted or bred super early with a couple different options. Easily the best one is Captivia with a Bushy. You can get both of those pretty early game in my opinion, compared to some of the other ones on the list. Maybe something like a Ruby with a Lavender is a good option as well, but definitely Captivia, Cremi, Bushy, those are your best little combinations to breed this. But you can see ground PALs drop more items when defeated when you guys are fighting together. This is also an alpha PAL, I think at level 38 or something like that, so you can also grab it that way. Next off, we got our pure dragon type, which helps us to drop those dark pal drops so you can get high quality oils, some of those different wings that are in the dark side. So nothing too crazy for farming those because we don't use them too often in those bases, but we are going to be using the Elfridian right here, which you can catch around in a couple different places pretty easily. Plus, you can also use a similar combination with Pen King and a Serpent, which will give you this beautiful pal right here. There are a couple different options like a Grisbolt with a Cell Ray that is also pretty easy to get, as well as a Pen King and Anubis. So a couple different options here to craft or breed this one. Next on the list, only a couple more here, is our Cryo Links, which helps with those Dragon Pal drops when we fight together. This is not too easy to be able to breed out, but you can find it in all of our icy habitats. So you can find it in, you can see right here when I click on habitat, the different areas that it is in up here, which it is a little higher level and it is pretty cold, but once you catch it, it is one of the best for using the cooling ability. Plus, you can get those Dragon Pal drops even better. Second to last right here, we have two of them again with Blaze Howl Noct as well as Catrus. These both help for neutral pals to drop more items when defeated. Blaze Howl Noct you can go catch in the fire region at the bottom left hand side of the map. At night they have to be down here by the volcano, or you can use the breeding of a normal Blaze Howl with a Fellbat, but both of those, at least the Fellbat, kind of harder to get. So if you can get over there with some heat protection down to this habitat and catch one, that is your way to go for those neutral pals. The other option, which we have definitely more of an early game for this, for those neutral pal drops, is the Catrus. You can find it in a plethora of areas at night right here. The crafting aspect also a very easy with a Pen King and a Cell Ray. You can get a Catrus from that, so it makes this pretty easy to get earlier game, but once you get that later game, I would definitely suggest the Blast Howl Noct. Now, last for pals for farming some of these materials will be Orzhirk, because I think it is probably the most important out of these, because it helps with those water pal drops that you can see in its Ferocious Thunder Dragon partner skill. Now, this thing absolutely eats up those enemies with its attacks as well, so this thing allows you to get those pal fluids very easily on those water pal drops, because we use it in easily the most amount of things, from cement to some of our farms as well as those hot springs. So it's easily one of the hottest commodities that we need to farm compared to the other ones. Maybe flame organ as well as those electric organs would be next, but for pal fluids, which is definitely number one, throwing that Orzhirk out. To find this, we definitely have to go to one of our wildlife areas to get it, or the breeding aspect, which is way easier. You can breed a Relaxosaurus and a Grisbolt together. Will give you this, so you can go out and farm very fast and early. Alright, so the next way that I farm materials very easily, especially stuff like our eggs, milk, honey, as well as those high quality cloths, is right here with the ranch, a very important tool to use on your bases. Like I said, I use these here to get that honey and high quality cloths, so I can use them in my cakes, as well as on the other base. You can see right here that I have a bunch of cows and chickens in there to help with the eggs and milk aspect of making those cakes. Now, the high quality cloths are very important for some of those crafting abilities with that end game armor, end game shields, stuff like that. So it is very important to use those Siblixes for that. Now, you can also farm that high quality cloth by taking the Flareus that I am riding around this area up here and defeat those ice pals, because they will drop more of those items, which does include whatever the possibility of the drop is. So not just the ice organs, but those Siblixes can also drop the high quality cloths as well. So it is a very good way to farm some of those materials. There is a lot of different options. I'll throw them up on the screen with about 10 different items that can be dropped from pals, with the pals that they can be dropped from. So it is a very effective way where you can just leave your pals in here, go play the game, do your own thing, and not have to worry about it, and you will just get all of those items without worry. Now, the last thing that I wanted to talk about is to be able to farm the ancient civilization parts. Specifically, you can see right here, for me, the best way to do it is to go to those alpha pals and do your battle. But instead of just defeating them, make sure that you capture the pal as well, because when you capture it, you will get the drops for the same thing as if you defeated it. But on the other hand, it'll be in your box, so you can bring it back to your bases, use that meat cleaver on it to release it back into the wild, if you will, and it'll drop some of those parts again, so you can get pal fluids again, as well as stuff in like high quality pal oils from like those mammal rests. But make sure you definitely do that with your alpha pals around the map instead of defeating them, because there are a lot. You're able to get so many more of those ancient civilization parts than you would be if you're just going around and defeating those alpha pals. But if you do defeat them, make sure you're just going in there with those pals that I talked about in the beginning section, so you can get those extra drops from them when you're fighting together. But definitely would suggest, especially with those alpha pals, so you can get those ancient civilization parts, to catch them, come back to your base, use the meat cleaver, and then release them. You can do that really with any type of pals and you will get the double drops. It just does take a little bit while longer than throwing on one of your pals that gives you like the double drops and just going out to certain areas and absolutely crushing it. Obviously, the areas to find some of these aren't too crazy to find. It is a pretty easy thing, especially for things like the ice, water, as well as fire pals. So ice pals, obviously up here where I'm at, inside of the mountain up here where the lean knocked is, all of these are ice pals. Very easy to get those drops, as well as up here on this little bit where actually that Siblix is. Another good spot for those fire pals, obviously over here. If you go get them, there is a plethora of all of them right here. Now, when I go for my water pals, I personally right here go for Gobfin's turf, because when you do travel here, there is Gobfins everywhere throughout that Orzerk, and your pal fluids are just flowing. And then the rest of the map is kind of a hosh-posh of the other pals, with the grass, electric, rock, everything like that. Some of the rocky ones could be in here, as well as up in the top of the map a little bit more, but throughout the middle, mostly it's just a hosh-posh of them. So maybe have on a couple different options if you're going to farm those, but overall, nothing too crazy with finding, especially those water pals. Go to this spot right here in Gobfin's turf. Very good for farming those pal fluids. So hopefully you guys like this type of content. I really appreciate all you guys with that support. Absolutely killing it on the channel with not just Destiny videos, but these Palworld videos as well. So I really truly appreciate it. Don't be afraid to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Totally up to you, your choice. Hit that bell as well so you don't miss out on any content like this, as well as my Destiny 2 stuff. So I truly appreciate all you guys again for that support. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.